What's going on, guys? Harrison Lincoln here, back with another Yu-Gi-Oh deck profile. So today I'm going to show you my roleplay deck that I'm going to be using in a roleplay that hopefully me, that one slick guy, King of Odds, and Mechlord Infinity, whatever his name is, I can't remember anymore, I'm going to be doing on YouTube. So this is one of my roleplay decks that I have lined up because I've got tons of decks. I've got an Xyz deck, I've got a Synchro deck, got a Fusion deck, got a Link deck, as you can see now. And the deck that I'm doing, as you can tell from here, is Trikstrikers, which is basically a combination of Trickstars and Skystrikers. So I'm going to be using this deck because, well, Skystrikers are really good, especially with the Link monsters, because the Link monsters are my favourite. Skystrikers are actually my favourite archetype so far in the existence, due to their ability to bounce back cards, destroy them instantly with just a few spells, like the spell Skystriker Maneuver Afterburners, or Skystriker Maneuver Jamming Waves, or Skystriker Mech Army Hercules. But yeah, Trickstars as well, because they deal so much burn damage. They're now the new top burn damage deck, but the only card that can beat them is multiple. But my favourite one to have to combo against it would be number 14, Greedy Saramea. Sadly, it's not in the deck because there's not enough level 5s. Well, there is, but I'm not going to get 2 Trickstar Caribbean in the first turn or so often. But anyways, let's get right into it. So as I just mentioned, level 5 Trickstar Caribbean, really good because I can send it to the hand for the graveyard by targeting a Trickstar monster. So for example, Belladonna or Sweet Guitar, and they gain attack, and then my monster gains equal attack to, I believe, the opponent's original monster attack points. So if I'm facing an Egyptian god like Obelisk and I'm using Sweet Guitar, she's got 1,800 left attack points. Excuse me. But if I combine Bella Caribbean, it's effective with it. That means it gains an additional 4,000 attack points, dealing my opponent 2,200 points of damage, which is really, really good for the deck. Next, we've got 3 Candina, because when it's normal summon, I can get a Trickstar to my hand. That means I can get one of my Lycoris or one of my Narcissus, which is really, really helpful for the deck, because then I can inflict 200 damage for every time they activate a spell card. So spell heavy decks and trap heavy decks like Phantom Knights or something like that, they're in danger. They're in danger of this deck, because Candina, they'll activate a spell card, sure. Say, for example, my opponent plays Eternal Soul, I can deal him him or her 200 burn, and then I can summon Narcissus, and then each time my opponent activates a monster effect, I can deal him another 200 damage, him or her. And then when they draw with Lycoris, I can deal him 200 damage. Next, we've got Skystriker Ace Ray. This is the only Skystriker monster will affect a normal, regular monster in the archetype, due to it because the only way I can summon my Skystriker Link monsters is a non-fire Skystriker monster, non-water, and non-wind. But Ray allows me to summon one Skystriker monster from my deck to an extra monster zone, from the extra to the extra monster zone, by tributing it, which means I can get an instant link out, and then I can use that link's effect once it's done with, go into another Skystriker Link, then same again. I can basically build off Skystriker Ray's abilities. Next, we've got Skystriker Trickstar Rodode, which inflicts 200 damage for each of my opponent's banished cards. But it's only when they get something banished from the graveyard. So if I'm facing off against a dinosaur that runs Tower of Infinity in it, I can immediately play Trickstar Rodode. I don't know how to say that. I'll learn along the way. And they'll take so much damage for banishing all those cards, which would be amazing to deal with. Would be unlucky for the opponent to deal with. Then we've got Trickstar Narcissus, which I've already explained what it can do. Same with Lycoris. Then Trickstar Lilybell. I can special summon it from my hand if I add it with the effect of Candina, which is really good because then I think I can special summon it, and when I inflict battle damage, I can add a Trickstar monster to my hand, like maybe Caribbean or one of the Link monsters back into the deck, which would be really helpful. But it's really bad when I have Belladonna on the field, because if I have Belladonna on my field, I don't want to be adding the Trikstars back to the deck. I want to keep them in the graveyard so I can keep dealing my opponent more and more burn damage. Then we've got Trickstar Mandrake, which when it's into the graveyard, I can special summon from the hand to the graveyard. I can special summon this card in defense position, which is actually very helpful to the deck, because then when it's special summoned, I can then switch it out for Lycoris, or then I can normal summon Candina to then add a Lilybell. Then I can special summon Lilybell, and then I can go into a Link 3 like Trickstar Foxy Witch or Trickstar Delphiendium, or maybe even a Link 2 like Black Cat, and then go into the Link 1 Bloom. And finally, for the monsters, we've got Trickstar Nightshade. So when it's sent to the graveyard for a Link summon, I can special summon it, but banish it when it leaves the field, which is sort of okay, but if I use 3 of them, I can summon all 3 of them. But the effect for that is only once per turn, so the best way... I only put 3 in this deck because I'll hardly ever get a Link 1 out with this deck. I'll always go for the Link 2s or Link 3s. Or Link 4. But when I've got Skystrikers and Ray on my field... excuse me. And when I've got Ray on my field, I can go to Skystriker Shizuka. Right, now we've got the spell cards. So I was mentioning about the Skystriker maneuvers earlier. Well, here I've put a few of them in the deck, like Vector Blaster. Vector Blaster, when I control a monster in my monster zones, every player sends the top 2 cards from their deck to the graveyard. And then, if I send 1 card to the graveyard, and I have 3 or more spells in my graveyard, so if I, for example, say when I played this, so let's shuffle for a second until it gets into my hand, because this is where is it there? Still can't seem to find it. I need my glasses on there. Doesn't matter. So if I've got that in my hand and then I send a Cup of Ace and a light stage, that means I can play its ability to shuffle all monsters in my opponent's monsters from the extra monster zones into the deck. So if they've extra linked me, I can play this and then get the 2 link monster zones, and then I can use Belladonna, Foxy Witch, Defiendum, and then Holly Angel. I can actually link them, but I have to play a combo to do that. Next we've got Jamming Waves. I can take 1 spell and trap card on the field and destroy it, and then if I've got 3 or more spell and traps in the graveyard, I can destroy 1 card on my opponent on the monster on the field. That includes my own monsters, so if I've got a wall, like for example Link Belt Wall Dragon, which is really annoying for both players, but it's a good wall, I can destroy that. 2 Cup of Ace because of the trick of Lycoris and her drawing ability. Now Trickstar Fusion is to summon Trickstar Band Sweet Guitar. Only reason why it's in the deck. Don't want to run Polymerization because that's too much. Then we've got Afterburners, which if I control a monster, take 1 physical monster to the field and destroy it. So if my opponent's got Marshmallow, for example, and I've got nothing on my field, I can just destroy that. Shark Cannon, because when I control a monster, take 1 on my opponent's graveyard and banish it. Then I can play the effect of, I believe it was Lilybell? No, it wasn't Lilybell. It was Rodode, the one I can't say. Dealing 200 burn damage. Brand Skystriker Mecha Hornet Drones. Special monster Skystriker Ace Token to go into a Link monster. Hand Destruction because of Lycoris' effect. Trickstar Bouquet because it's a Trickstar spell card. Not really going to go into detail with this. Skystriker Mech Modules Multi-Roll. Love this card mainly because it's also got multi in it, and my old YouTube name was Multi Havoc. Trickstar Magic Corolla. Summons a Trickstar monster from my graveyard and equip it with the card. When it leaves the field, destroy the equipped monster. And if I deal damage to the equipped monster, I can summon 1 Trickstar monster from my hand. So that's pretty helpful. And then we've got the field spells, Trickstar Light Stage, because I believe Light Stage is the one that increases the damage. Let me just check. Unless I'm wrong. Yeah, each time Trickstar monster controls its battle damage, I can deal them 200 damage. Or effect damage, I can increase it by 200. I believe it's also effect damage as well. Yeah. or effect damage. Then we've got, I believe that's like live stage, yeah. Okay, so we're back again. I was talking about Trickstar Live Stage. I only have a 10-minute limit, but I can just piece these things together, so it's fine. And I can summon a Trickstar token to a link. If I control a link monster, I can summon a token. I can summon a Trickstar token if my opponent controls it, has a spell or trap, controls the card in the spell trap card zone. So it's really good for facing off against decks like ones that support Uriah, Lord of Searing Flames. And then we've got Trickstar Light Arena. Yeah, Light Arena. Which does nothing much other than adds target one Trickstar Link monster. When I like to target one Trickstar monster in my graveyard. Use its material and switch to its first position, but it's again. So that's only really good if I've got like links on the field. Right, now for the traps. So we've got Stormy Mirror Force, our basic shuffle back into the deck, because why not? We've got Trickstar Reincarnation, which is really good. Banish all my opponent's entire hand. If I do, then draw the same number of cards. And I could discard banish from the graveyard, then target one Trickstar monster in my graveyard and summon it. So it's really good when I'm banishing the entire hand of my opponent. Then they can draw the same number of cards, more effect damage from Lycoris. 2 of those in the deck. Quaking Mirror Force, set them all face down. Regular Mirror Force, get rid of them for because they have link monsters. And 3 present cards. There's a friend who I have at school who uses this card in his Trickstar deck in real life. Oh my god, it is so goddamn trolly. I love him. I love this deck to bits. But when you're playing against a present card, it is so annoying. It honestly is. If you play against it, you've got to plan for it. Now then, now for the extra decks. So we've got Trickstar Sweet Guitar, 1 Trickstar Link Monster, and 1 Trickstar Monster. Any effect damage on Trickstar Link Monster. Linked to this card inflicts your opponent his damage is doubled. So if I've got Belladonna and I deal him, let's say 2,300 times all of my Trickstar monsters in my graveyard. That's 23 times by 200 times it by 200 damage. That's pretty much doubled. So I'm talking like, so if I have 10, that's 4,000. I'm talking about 8,600 points of damage there. Straight up. That's one of the best Trickstar monsters you could ever have in a deck if it's got a link monster pointing to it. And we've got Belladonna, as I just explained, 200 damage for each Trickstar monster in my graveyard with different names, so I could deal them like 4,000 damage instead of like the 8,000 I wanted to. Foxy Witch, I can inflict 200 damage for each card they control when it's special summoned. And if it's destroyed, I can special summon 1 like 2 or lower Trickstar monster for my extra deck. Then we take damage for each card they control. So basically, if it's destroyed, deal damage. Then if I revive it, deal more damage. But I get to summon another thing and deal damage. So Defilendium, or as we call it at school, the Crossdresser. So basically, when I can target one of my managed Trickstar cards up to the number of link monsters your opponent controls, add them to my hand and it gains 1,000 attack points for each, so I could pretty much have a 10,000 beater there. Black Cat, 200 damage for each time my opponent takes damage. Every time it destroys a monster by battle. Oh no, the card points to is destroyed by battle, okay. Bloody Mary. Gain 200 life points for each Trickstar normal special summoned. This card points to gain 200 life points gain 200 life points for each Trickstar monster. Holy Angel, if it damaged my opponent. So it's pretty much the opposite of Bloody Mary. Shizuku. Remember, opponent's monster loses 100 attack for each spell in my graveyard. Add 1 trikstriker spell from my graveyard to my hand. Against 100 attack for each spell in your graveyard. Same again. Attack directly after damage calculated if this card is battled. You can send 1 trikstriker card from your deck to the graveyard. Trickstar Bloom, 1 level 2 or lower Trickstar monster. Draw a card if a face Trickstar monster this card points to is destroyed by battle. A card affecting 200 damage for your opponent for each card in their hand. So yeah, that's the Trickstar deck, or Trikstrikers. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe, hit hit the bell to let you know whenever I'm doing notifications. My singing video will be filmed tomorrow. When I get home. Excuse me again. And then after that's uploaded, I'll do another deck profile, another one, and then another singing video. So basically, the channel's now just gonna be a Yugi singing, a singing and a Yu-Gi-Oh channel. So look forward. The first song I am going to be singing, due to polls on my Instagram, MultiHabitYT, go check it out. Judging by what I've seen, it's probably going to be Other Side first, and then I might do Come Alive versus something else. So that's good, because I know I've said off by heart. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. As I already said, like, subscribe, hit the bell, all that. See you guys later. Peace.